If Deshaun Watson's the starting quarterback week 1, there's going to be no excitement for this team.
None. How could there be?
That's not some rando in the comments section talking. That's an actual analyst, on camera, saying the quiet part loud about the guy Vegas currently has penciled in as the week 1 starter in Cleveland. And nobody else in that conversation jumped in to disagree with him. Because here's the part that should make every Browns fan's stomach turn a little. According to FanDuel, Deshaun Watson is the betting favorite to start week 1, not Shedeur Sanders, the guy half this fan base has been begging for since the day he fell to the 5th round. Watson, the same quarterback who hasn't looked like a starting caliber NFL passer in 6 years.
Isn't this the exact same thing I said to you guys last year?
That's Ross Tucker, catching himself mid-sentence, realizing he's basically reading last year's script back to himself word for word. Start the guy under contract, see if there's anything left in the tank, and if there isn't, hand it over to Sanders for the rest of the year. Cleveland ran that exact play in 2025. It did not work. And somehow, heading into 2026, it's the plan again.
None of this is going to matter. It's all rearranging deck chairs in the Titanic.
Brutal, but also kind of the whole video in one sentence. Cleveland can build the best offensive line in the division, trade for a legitimate star pass rusher, and stack one of the best young defensive cores in football, and it will not matter even a little if the guy taking snaps is either checked out or still figuring out how to play the position. And right now, Cleveland's actual plan at quarterback is running it back. Again. Todd Monken's arrival in Cleveland was supposed to be the reset button on this quarterback room, not a rerun of it. He's gone on record saying he believes he's got 2 starting caliber arms on this roster right now, a claim that got him more side-eye from the football world than actual agreement, because starting caliber is doing a lot of heavy lifting when one of those arms belongs to a guy who's been the worst statistical starting quarterback in the league for most of the last 3 seasons, and the other belongs to a 5th-round rookie who posted some of the ugliest advanced numbers of any starter in football last year. And yet, here we are, staring at the exact same hierarchy question Cleveland has been asking since the day the Watson trade went through. Give Watson every rope he's got left under a brand new coaching staff, 4 or 5 games to prove there's still something there. And if it's not, hand the keys to Sanders for a real look. On paper, that sounds like a defensible plan.
I don't think it makes sense to do it the other way.
Meaning don't start Sanders, bench him mid-season and hand it back to Watson. Give Watson his shot first, get it out of your system, then move on to Sanders for the long look. It's the same coin flip Cleveland has made for 2 straight off seasons. In both times, it's landed on the wrong side of the bet. Remember what this era actually cost to set up. Cleveland gave up multiple first-round picks and a fully guaranteed contract to acquire Watson, at a time when, at least on tape, he'd graded out among the same handful of quarterbacks who played in that year's conference championship games. That was the entire bet. Instead, they got benched games, a Baker Mayfield revenge tour that's outproduced him from another building entirely, and offensive numbers bad enough that national broadcasts have used Cleveland's snaps under Watson as the actual floor for what rock-bottom quarterback play looks like in a modern NFL.
It's like 6 years. There's no chance. He's not good.
That's the entire national perception of Deshaun Watson in one breath, and it's coming from people paid to find nuance in exactly these situations. There isn't any nuance left to find. 6 years removed from his last good football, and the phrase everyone reaches for is just no chance. So picture the real worst-case outcome here, because it isn't the one you'd expect. It isn't Watson throwing 3 picks in the opener and getting benched by Halloween. Honestly, that would almost be a mercy. The actual nightmare is Watson playing fine. Not great, not disastrous, just good enough for 4 or 5 weeks that Monken can't justify pulling him, and good enough across a full season that Cleveland finishes somewhere in the middle of the pack at the position.
Oh man, do we have to pay him again?
That's the actual nightmare question, asked out loud by someone who covers this team for a living. Not is Watson good? Everybody already knows the answer to that. The real fear is Cleveland playing itself into thinking it owes this guy another contract, while the loaded 2027 quarterback class, the one Cleveland has been stockpiling extra draft capital to attack, plays out without them in the room. Think about it like a lease you can't get out of. Watson playing awful is a bad tenant you can evict in June. Watson playing mediocre is a tenant who pays rent on time and never quite gives you a legal reason to change the locks, even though you know deep down the apartment deserves better. That's the trap. Not disaster, just enough competence to freeze the whole organization in place for another year, while Sanders sits and waits, and a much deeper quarterback class rolls right past Cleveland's draft slot. There's also a version of this where Sanders simply gets better, the way rookies at this position usually do, quietly, without a single highlight package attached to it. First-year quarterbacks who struggle with turnovers and pressure, but flash real arm talent, have made exactly that jump before, cleaning up the careless plays in year 2 while keeping the aggressiveness that made them interesting in the first place. Nobody's guaranteeing Sanders takes that leap, but it's a real enough path that benching him before camp even starts, in favor of a passer who's regressed for 3 straight years, is the kind of decision that could look brutal in hindsight by October.
It's going to backfire, and Shedeur Sanders is going to finish the season as the starting quarterback.
That's the prediction sitting right next to Watson's betting favorite tag from the same broadcast. 2 contradictory realities stacked on top of each other. Vegas says Watson opens the season. The analysts on the same show say Sanders closes it. Something in that gap is going to break. Now stack Sanders up against Dillon Gabriel, the other rookie quarterback Cleveland brought in that same draft. Once Sanders actually got on the field, there wasn't a single advanced stat you could point to and call good. Efficiency was rough, the overall numbers were rough, but the eye test told a slightly different story than the spreadsheet did. Gabriel offered almost nothing downfield, a low-risk operator averaging somewhere around 5 yards per attempt, with 0 explosive plays attached to his name, and somehow still found ways to give the ball away. Sanders at least pushed it vertically. He took some of the actual chances an NFL offense needs someone willing to take. It wasn't good football, it just wasn't nothing. And on this specific roster, right now, not nothing might be enough to win a training camp competition against a washed former blockbuster trade target, which is exactly why Cleveland's season win total sits at 5.5, one of the lowest anywhere in the league heading into the year. It's genuinely hard to find a number that low anywhere else on the board, and the honest reason it's sitting there is that nobody, not the bettors, not the analysts, not apparently the coaching staff itself, actually knows for certain which of these 2 guys is throwing the ball by Thanksgiving.
The front office and ownership are not delusional.
That's actually a compliment coming from Ross Tucker, and it's the closest thing to a silver lining in this entire situation. Cleveland's brass isn't pretending it's a Super Bowl contender. It knows exactly where it is. But knowing where you are and still making the same quarterback mistake 2 off-seasons in a row are 2 very different things. And Todd Monken doesn't get an infinite runway to prove he's the guy who finally breaks the pattern. And it isn't just the quarterback room that got shaken up this offseason. Picture this the way a mob movie sets up its power struggle. Cleveland traded away Myles Garrett, the same player the front office swore up and down all offseason they would never move, in exchange for Jared Verse, a legitimate star in his own right, but still a clear step down from arguably the best defensive player alive.
I'm taking my toys and leaving.
That's the read on why Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator who built one of the most distinct, disciplined fronts in the entire league over the last 2 years, walked the moment he got passed over for the head coaching job in favor of Monken. He wanted the corner office or nothing, and when the answer was nothing, he left rather than run somebody else's program. So the defense that spent 2 straight seasons quietly propping up one of the worst offenses in modern football now has a new coordinator, a new scheme, and 1 fewer generational pass rusher to lean on heading into the most important quarterback evaluation this front office has run in years. The offensive line took the same kind of hit. Cleveland is rolling out 4 or 5 new starters up front this year, guys who've all had good stretches somewhere in their careers, but who have never played a single snap together as a unit. Some of that turnover was coming regardless of the quarterback mess, but none of it helps a competition where both candidates need a clean pocket to look like anything at all. And that's really the quiet joke buried in this whole saga. Cleveland spent draft capital rebuilding the offensive line, the receiving room, and half the defense around a quarterback position it still hasn't settled after 4 years of trying. Even the locker room chatter has gotten messy in public. Jerry Jeudy's been out here posting gestures and photos that read like he's quietly rooting for Watson in this exact competition, whatever the original intent actually was. In a quarterback room this unsettled, that's the kind of detail that usually stays behind closed doors. Instead, it's its own subplot, sitting right alongside the Watson-Sanders debate, right alongside the defensive coordinator fallout, right alongside a win total Vegas won't touch with any real confidence. Zoom out for a second, and this isn't just a Cleveland problem either. Every team stuck between a declining veteran and an unproven rookie is watching how this plays out, because the incentive structure is the same everywhere. Coaches get judged on wins now, not development 3 years from now, which is exactly why so many franchises default to the safer-looking veteran even when the tape says the kid gives them a higher ceiling. Cleveland just happens to be running that exact experiment in the harshest possible spotlight, with a 5.5 win total and a fan base that's run out of patience for reruns. So here's where this actually leaves the Browns walking into training camp. The betting markets have Watson favored to open the season under center, despite the fact that the people covering this team on camera, on podcasts, in every breakdown available, cannot find a single real argument for why that's the right call. Sanders sits behind him at plus 5,500, buried in the odds despite showing more actual juice on tape than the guy currently in front of him. Cleveland fans have proven year after year that they'll find a reason to believe anyway. People will talk themselves into all kinds of things when they want something badly enough. Somewhere out there right now, there's a Browns fan explaining with a completely straight face why this is finally the year Deshaun Watson turns it around. Good luck to him.